Hello, everybody, and what's going on? Welcome back to the Tech Informist. It's been a long time since we've had the opportunity to talk, but hey, we're back. We're back. We're live and ready to talk some technology with all of you tech fans out there. So, everybody, welcome. Episode 92, recorded August 5th, 2015. It's Wednesday, hump day. What's going on? Brad, how are you doing today, sir?
Well, as you can see or not see, I'm not on the screen again, mostly because we're moving and there is just stuff everywhere. So the next time you guys see me, I will probably be in a much different location.
Much different location.
Yes, which will be at the end of the month. But hey, we're jumping the gun and getting things done early so we don't have as much to do later.
I completely understand. Nothing wrong with that at all. So that's Brad Whiteside. I'm Kevin Harvell, and I again want to welcome each and every one of you to the Tech Informist. Like I mentioned,
Kevin, what is the Tech Informist?
What is the Tech Informist? That's a fantastic question. Thank you for asking, Brad. No, the Tech Informist is simply a podcast geared towards those of us that like consumer technology. And a little bit later in the show, I'll talk about my experience this past weekend at Podcast Movement. Fantastic time. I won't go into a whole bunch of detail there. And everybody's like, okay, so what is your show about? And I just chuckled because, I'm involved in 4 shows at the moment and getting ready to launch another 1 or 2 in the next couple months. But I did say most of our shows revolve around consumer technology. And that's what the Tech Informist is all about. We like to talk about smartphones, video games, and computer operating systems, and just all sorts of things that might catch our eye and that we want to help inform you about, share our experiences and our opinions.
And sometimes a little bit of the science side.
A little bit of the science side, which there was a little Neil deGrasse Tyson talk this week as well. So it was fun. A lot of people, the general consensus is everybody really does like Neil deGrasse Tyson, and who can blame them?
Yeah, I was going to say, who can blame him, though? He's a real cool guy.
Yes. So it's good stuff. So, Brad, whenever I messaged you recently and, asking how things were going, you said you were really busy at work. And speaking about work, the first thing you've got in the show notes, talk about some new kind of paint.
Yeah, so it's actually, this blows my mind, Kevin, because, since I've been painting and messing with cars, like since I've been 14, anything that's been in paint, it's been like a hardener to activate the paint, and you have to bake it and, get it hot. This new primer that we got is UV based. So I spray 2 coats of this UV-based primer, which is actually translucent and you can see through it, which also blows my mind, because if you can see through your primer, you haven't put enough on, right? Well, with this one, you have to be able to see through it because the UV rays have to penetrate all the way to the lowest level to cure the primer. So basically, I put 1 coat on, let it flash off, put another coat on, wait about 5-10 minutes, pull it out in the sun. It doesn't matter if it's 0 degrees out or if it's 100 degrees out. As long as the sun is shining right on that spot, it'll cure in 5-10 minutes. It's
wow.
And then you can just start sanding it, so there's a few things that are blowing my mind right here. Number 1, that is way too fast to be messing with primer in the world of hardeners and normal painting. And number 2, the fact that you can pull it outside in the dead of winter and it'll still cure, that just, wow. So it's made my life a little easier at work at times,
okay,
which is always nice. We don't like to work too hard, right, Kevin?
Right. Now, whenever I was working for Chrysler up in the paint department, I used to spray, and it was really fun. And sometimes when the sealer line and sanding booth would have to, sand dirt out of the powder coat process, because it's got to go through the powder coat process, the chip seal kind of stuff to, it's got to go over all the bare metal, and then it would get up to the seal line. They would put all their sealer and stuff like that. Well, sometimes after that it would get to the main spray booths, and we had 2 different spray booths. First section was called tack off, where they would use kind of like kind of like a tacky rag to
Yeah, it's like
wipe
a
off.
cheesecloth, but it has like a bunch of like real sticky stuff all over it. And the point is to get all the dirt off the car
Yeah,
when you're
dirt,
tacking it.
lint, just as much stuff as possible because, well, you don't want that under the paint. And then whenever it would get into the spray booth to the first person that would be spraying. Now, of course, robots are painting the entire outside of the vehicle. And we would just spray like the inside of the door jambs and so on and so forth, and specific spots in the bed area because we were painting on trucks.
Right, right. Yep.
And we'd have some bare metal, and we'd have a can of primer, attached that we could use if we need to. You would spray that on there, hit it with some air, and then you could, then you could spray pretty much instantly.
Oh, wow.
Right after that. I mean, it was like real dry. Just put a nice light coat on there. Not
So
real
was that
heavy.
water-based primer then?
Yes.
Okay, so the interesting thing about water-based primer, it kind of in the same way can be fast as this UV primer. The problem is the type of water primer we have is usually a very dirty primer. Whether like I strain it or not, it just seems to be very dirty. So I don't use it very often, but I almost have to exclusively use it on Saturn parts because all of their stuff is water-based. And if you try to use a solvent based on the water, it's just going to peel and wrinkle up and you are not going to have fun later.
Yeah.
So a lot of chemicals, a lot of chemistry going on behind a lot of that stuff. So you almost have to know, which cars have what in them and what products you're supposed to use on each one of them, which, for the most part, Saturn's kind of the odd man out, but they don't make them anymore. So, hey.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't really hear about Saturn anymore. And the big thing, I think, with publicizing the Saturn brand was, wasn't it where you could like push on the door panels and stuff like that, and they would just like automatically pop out? They wouldn't dent or some strange thing like that.
Oh yeah, because so the door panels are plastic, just like the Camaros, just like the Corvettes. It's just like, and when you think about a car being plastic, it's just like, is that safe? But it is because they engineer it to be that way.
It just does not really sound that safe.
No, and it's funny because I think when Saturn brought out their like SL2s and their one of their most famous cars, not only did people buy them, but they're like one of the safer cars on the road, and their door panels were plastic, their quarters were plastic, fenders plastic, hood sometimes aluminum. So it's just kind of mind-boggling. But yeah, so that was the amazing which the reason we're so busy at work, by the way, is because we're switching over how we pull cars through the shop. So it's this new system we're doing, and the paint company who supplies us the paint, BASF, which is usually the paint people for BMW. BMW recommends BASF. If you do not put BASF on BMW, you null and void the warranty on the BMW.
Wow,
so that's the main reason why we carry that paint company, is because BMW requires BASF.
Serious business there.
Yeah. So anyway, they're doing this system with us. We're learning a whole bunch of new stuff, and they just like, hey, you should check out this primer. And it was funny because they thought I was going to be really resistant to change, because that's like how most people are when they bring new stuff into work. I'm like, hey, bring that on over. I want to check this out.
Right.
This makes my life easier. Let's do it.
Yeah, but a lot of people initially are like, wait a second, you're throwing off my whole routine of how I do everything. I don't like new. So yeah, I can see why it can be an issue for some people, and other people are like, yeah, bring it. If it makes it better, bring it.
Indeed. So yeah, that's my life story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. Speaking of bringing it, last Wednesday, a week ago today, Microsoft released Windows 10. So they brought it to the world, brought it to the masses. Now, as people might remember, we were planning on recording an episode live from the Microsoft Store. But due to funeral death in a friend's family, I ended up going to the funeral that morning instead of going to the Microsoft Store, which Brad was able to still go to the Microsoft Store. So tell us what the environment and atmosphere was like.
So it was very like energized and exciting, and it felt almost like party-like, in the sense that like everybody was just excited to be there, and that was a good feeling. I mean, usually that's how it is at the Microsoft Store. But I actually did meet up with Mike from our Facebook group, which we're getting ready to have another meetup here at the Microsoft Store on Saturday, if anybody can make it. I believe it's 11 to 1 or 10 to 1, somewhere around there. Anywho, so it was very, energized. They had all the computers updated to Windows 10, so, I hadn't touched Windows 10 since, I just hadn't touched it. So I immediately went over to the Dell XPS 13 because it's like one of my favorites right now. And I just started playing with Windows 10, and I instantly loved it. It just works so good. There's a lot of crisp things about it. It looks, works, feels great. Obviously, there's a few things that people don't like, I don't like, you don't like, which we can, talk about here in a second. But so I haven't gotten the upgrade on my main tower computer. I'm not going to push it. I'm just going to let it happen. But with my tablet, I just dropped it off the Microsoft Store and picked it up the next day, and it has Windows 10 on it. So I've been messing with Continuum and just playing around with Windows 10 in general. And for the most part, I really love it. There are a few features that I'm missing from Windows 8, but it's not a deal breaker. It's just I really miss the placeholders for OneDrive, Kevin. I really, really miss them.
Yeah, that is one of my biggest complaints, is that whole function of placeholders and losing that.
If they could fix that, I would almost not have any issues at all. I mean, Edge has, been a little wishy-washy because it's a new product and people are getting their hands on it for the first time. So a few things, once again, it was just the week of blowing my mind, Kevin. So my new tablet, not a very spec'd out tablet. It's got 2 gigs of RAM. It's Atom processor with a dual core on it. It's not heavy computing device. It's something that I get on the web with and, do a few things while I'm playing Destiny. And with it, it's Windows 10. It's got all the new stuff that can interact with the Xbox. So I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I have to try out game streaming. I got to see, where do you have to cut the line to use game streaming on, Windows 10. So I went to set up the stream. I clicked it, and it just started streaming to my tablet. And I was just waiting for there to be jitters and, screen tearing and just stop working altogether. Kevin, it worked perfect.
Good. I'm glad to hear that it was.
I could not believe how well it worked. In fact, it worked so well that I just took it into our bedroom and just started playing Destiny on my tablet. Like, my mind was blown. Playing Destiny on a tablet, that sounds stupid. I mean, I could not believe that how little of specs this thing has, and it just still works flawlessly.
You're almost speechless to a point.
I am, because this shouldn't work on this tablet. It just shouldn't, and it does, and that makes me excited, because that's like, well, if I can do it on tablet, there's a very good possibility that this could work on a phone. Especially if a phone has like 8 cores on it, or 6 cores, or whatever the crazy new spec is supposed to be.
Right.
So, not that, I'm going to play on a phone versus a tablet. It's just, it's very interesting to me that could be a possibility. But yeah, I'm super stoked for the gaming streaming. Now, from what I've noticed, it mirrors whatever's on the screen or on your Xbox per se. So if we wanted to do 2 things at once, we'd probably have to fire up the 360. So that way, she could watch TV while I game, and we'd sit right on the couch, do different things at the same time, is what I meant. But yeah, really exciting stuff. That's one of my favorite features from Windows 10, other than like Cortana coming to Windows 10, because me and Cortana, we're tight.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're finally getting a chance to experience Windows 10 and what many of us have already been using with the Insider preview builds.
Well, like I said, I kind of I kind of just took the approach that Mary Jo took. It's like you were already doing every single build. You're installing it every day. It's like, well, it'd be nice to have the other end of the spectrum where somebody didn't touch it at all and just wait till day one and then, have fun with it. And that's kind of where I went with it.
Yeah,
So
it still runs fantastic on my Surface Pro 3. And yesterday afternoon, I installed it on my Dell Venue 8 Pro. Just tablet only experience there, and it installed fine. Whenever you went to the Windows updates, whatever, it tells you, you got to go through the Windows update on the desktop, which is via the control panel. And it just walked me through what I needed to do. I just simply did an update. I didn't do a clean install because I don't really keep a lot of stuff on that Dell Venue. And it seems to be okay. The only issue that I seen was originally when I was in the tablet mode. I'm still trying to figure out how to resize the start menu. And then I switched to, regular, I guess you'd say, quote unquote, desktop mode. Mm-hmm. And then I switched back to tablet mode, and the start menu was wider. So a little bit different then.
Yeah, tablet mode seems like it turns into Windows 8.1, but on the desktop. And then it's got a bunch of touch-friendly icons that are easier to hit when you're in the continuum. Halftime mentions in tablet mode, it sucks going to Windows Explorer. So interesting. I haven't really messed with that too much, but I probably should. I don't know. Windows tablets, kind of weird. They work, for the most part, but I don't know. I just prefer my mouse and keyboard. But yeah, that's kind of been my experience with Windows 10 so far.
Yeah, so I'm ready to see what it is that you do, what your experience is on your desktop.
Oh, I'm very excited for that. It's just, it's my baby, so I'm not pushing it too hard.
I don't push my baby so hard. Okay.
Well, that and, after listening to Mary Jo and Paul last week, basically saying, they had a bunch of driver issues and people had a bunch of driver issues and they couldn't get them downloaded fast enough. So things were kind of a little wonky because, it was the first day and it was launch and whatnot. So I'm kind of glad that I haven't gotten it yet. And I'm just kind of chilling and waiting.
Okay. So did you get any sweet swag while you were at the Microsoft store on launch day?
Yeah, I got a shirt from Windows 10, Microsoft. And it's got the Windows logo on it, and it's got binary code, and I think each square says something different. I forgot what they say, but I'm sure you can look it up. Right. And then on the back it has the hashtag Windows 10 on it.
Now, did you get is that the white insider one or?
No, because I wasn't an insider, and I like the black one better. Okay. So that's just me, though.
I think that's probably one of my biggest regrets is I didn't get a Windows 10 shirt.
Oh.
But
I'm sure you can find one on eBay.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can find on eBay.
Yeah.
A lot of things you can find on eBay. Pretty much anything you're wanting to find.
Pretty much. That's usually the first place I go for things that are hard to find or custom things or Etsy. Etsy has some pretty custom stuff too. Anywho.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and stay on the Microsoft topic. Now, as many of you know, I mentioned I was just in Dallas-Fort Worth for the Podcast Movement Conference. This is the second year of that conference. It first launched back in 2014 via Kickstarter. So this is a Kickstarter campaign originated conference for podcasters. And there was over 1,000 people in attendance. And this thing was fantastic. Now, I got there on Thursday, and listener Daryl, which we all know likes to talk about his super fast internet speeds, he graciously offered to pick me up, and we set this all up way back whenever I first announced that I was going to be in Texas at that time, because he works for Microsoft, and their office is right by the airport. I mean, he literally probably works, it's like a 5 to 10 minute drive. Just because traffic, stoplights, all that, etc.
All right.
And so he picked me up, and we went over to the Microsoft office, where he works, and kind of got a very, very brief, short tour because we got over there about 2:30, and got a chance to go to the Microsoft employee store where they have some amazing discounts on software and hardware. Like, you
Nice.
guys are super, super lucky.
You guys are set up nice.
Yeah, just imagine
Oh, I can imagine.
a full version of Windows 8.1 Pro, mind you, $35.
Whew.
Yeah. Guess who came home with one? This guy.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I'm like,
mean,
just because of the whole Windows 10 and all this stuff, I wanted to make sure I had enough licenses.
I wouldn't mind Windows 10 Pro on the old tower.
Yeah. So I bought the Windows 8.1 because they didn't have the Windows 10 retail packages there. Surprisingly.
Kevin, I gotta get this out. I called it. They had Windows 10 media on day one at the Microsoft store in St. Louis. Okay, I'm done. But yeah, I saw that at the store, and I was pretty stoked because that means you could literally just walk up, buy a copy. I mean, if you wanted to, if you're like making a tower at that point, but I don't know why anybody would really buy it yet, other than that reason.
Yeah, apparently people in our chat are saying my audio has been having some issues during this. So we'll see if the Audacity local recording is going to be the same as what is being experienced on the Hangouts.
Interesting. All right.
So I don't know. I know that was one of the big issues we had with the MS Mobile show, which was recording when I was flying back on Monday. That was the day that Google and YouTube wanted to update their transparent theme when you're watching a video, how things look a little different. So, I get back and I get a Skype message from Vernon saying, hey, help, the audio for the show is all jacked up. I'm like, what? It sounded fine. Because whenever we landed in St. Louis, I thought, I still have time to kind of jump in the show and kind of listen, see what's going on. And it sounded fantastic from my phone, just sitting there on the tarmac waiting. And so he sends me that. I go back and I listen to the video recording, and the audio is jumping around. 1 minute they're talking about something, and then the next split second it's something completely different. You're like, well, what just happened here? So I think that was affected by that. So we're going to be changing a few things up moving forward. So heads up with that, Brad.
Yeah.
I'll be training you soon on new ways of.
That's all right. I'm used to training at this point.
Yeah, you got that training all down.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, we'll go ahead and move on. Again, just podcast movement. It was a great time with Daryl. That's just one of the great things about doing podcasts and doing this stuff is getting to meet
the people behind it.
Yeah, the people that enjoy listening and building relationships with listeners and stuff like that. So we really do appreciate each and every one of you. I mean, whenever I was sitting in the airport to fly home on Monday, I did a quick Periscope, kind of a Ask Me Anything video. I was like, well, I can't record a live episode from here. So I did a Periscope video and was talking with Raul, and I guess we had about 8 or 9 other people that were watching.
Nice.
And it was good. It was fun. It was a nice way to pass some time and talk about other things that we normally may not talk about on the show.
Now, Periscope's Twitter, right?
Periscope is, that's Twitter. That's
okay,
Twitter's
just making sure.
Streaming. And then you got Meerkat, which is kind of on its own. But Meerkat, they've got integration now with GoPro cameras.
Nice.
So you can use a GoPro as your Meerkat streaming camera. And that's pretty fantastic.
So have either one of them fixed the whole portrait mode? Because, dear Lord, that
Nope.
Oh, God.
Nope. I think they're probably just going to stick with it because that whenever you're talking with people, that's the easiest way to hold your phone when you're doing something like that. It's probably why they're doing it.
True.
But they should still give you the option.
Yes, exactly.
Because more and more people are now using it to, they'll put it in a phone mount or a little mini tripod and have it standing on their desk, and they'll
selfie sticks.
Yeah. just give people the option to rotate the screen.
That would be excellent.
Yeah, Sam mentions in the chat he'd love to attend that podcast sometime. I guess he's talking about the podcast movement. Yeah, the event.
Yeah, maybe next year.
July 6th through the 8th, 2016 in Chicago. Now,
next year?
Yes, I haven't bought my ticket yet, but I went ahead and reserved my room. Yeah, I reserved my room, so I got the hotel room because I figure that's going to sell out first. And if you go to any conference, I strongly recommend stay at the event hotel because networking opportunities with people is so much more fun.
Yes, I could actually make that one, Kevin. I'm pretty sure I could.
I found and met a whole bunch of fantastic other podcasters from around the country.
That's awesome.
From Nashville, Portland, East Coast, West Coast, North. It was amazing. And there's a lot of financial podcasters and business podcasters that's the basis of their show. And the financial podcasters, man, they are just a fantastic group of people to hang around with. And I'll actually mention one of the new shows that I learned about and met the host later in our app and entertainment picks. But man, it's just a great group of people, and I cannot talk any higher about my experience at Podcast Movement. So Jared Easley, Dan Franks, Gary Leland, everybody else involved. Bravo to you guys. Bravo. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think I'm going to tentatively put those dates in my calendar because I'm pretty sure I'm going to make that one.
Yes, definitely do so, and we'll talk about that off air.
Indeed,
a lot of great stuff there. All right, so Galaxy Note 5, people that are like those big devices, the Galaxy Note 5 photos have started leaking. I believe Samsung has an event scheduled for, I believe, the 13th of August. So next week.
Wasn't there also last week? Wasn't the Moto X? Weren't they showing?
Yeah, Motorola had their big event. OnePlus had their big event, and we kind of already knew a lot about the OnePlus.
Yeah. The Moto X looks it's interesting. The little rear camera bar with the LEDs in the camera reminds me of old Nokia, the 920. Not that that's too bad or anything. It's kind of cool actually.
Yeah, so they released the new Moto G information about that, and I think that's actually coming out. Let me just go to Motorola.
It's a mid-range device?
Yes, that is the Moto G.
Okay. What's the starting price for that? Like $170?
Let me see. Okay.
I thought it was relatively cheap.
It is. It's a very typically affordable device. I want to say, okay, it starts at $179.99.
And that's for what specs we talking?
Yeah, I'm pulling that up right now.
Just say no to TouchWiz. Yeah.
All right, so you can get a 16 gig version with 2 gig of RAM for an extra $40. So it looks like $220 gives you a 16 gig of storage
versus 8.
Yeah, 8 gig with 1 gig of RAM.
$40? Yep. Come on now.
I know. Moto G specs. Apologize for not having all this pulled up at the moment, but you can actually do Moto Maker, the customizing functionality that Motorola
That's
offers.
A fantastic idea. I really do like that. I'm all about the customization. Yeah. But speaking of leaked things and things we've been talking about, supposedly, in air quotes, for those of you who can't see me, which is everybody right now. Right. So the 950 XL got kind of leaked in some photos in it's not like a final build. It's it's right before the final build. It seems like it's got the Type C connector at the bottom. It looks just like a big Nokia phone, basically. It was in all black, so nothing real flashy about it, which is kind of the point, being as it's not released yet. But I'm excited to see that phone in action.
Yeah, let's see. I'm still trying to find a good story to talk about with that. And, this brings me back to one problem with the Edge browser on Windows 10. If you
Uh-huh.
go to a website that has a lot of graphics and a lot of ads and stuff like that, it just locks the browser up and makes it cry. Seriously, it just like it wants to just go huddle over in a corner and I can't handle all of this. And that's what it's doing right now on the Android Central website. It's
Oh
just
no.
it's just like locking up and nah.
From the experience that I've had with it so far, it's kind of a 50-50 right now. It's a new product, but sometimes it's really fast and it works, as good, if not better, than Chrome.
Hmm.
And then there are other times, like you're having, when it just locks up or crashes.
Right. And
So it's like, oh,
it
huh.
really does depend on the website.
It really does.
And which is another reason why I cannot wait until Edge browser gets basically like Chrome extensions. So you can
Yes.
put an ad blocker and stuff like
Ad
that.
blocker plus. Come on.
Yeah, bring it. So the new Moto G is going to have it has, it's not going to, it just does, a 64-bit Snapdragon 410 CPU with either 1 or 2 gig of RAM, as mentioned before. Front and rear cameras have been upgraded to 5 and 13 megapixel units. And the new Moto G is also water resistant, rated at IPX6. So that is pretty nice for a, 180 or $220 phone. That's pretty fantastic if you ask me. I'm not even going to try to keep staying on the Android Central website the way this thing is running right now. Okay. So now, really looking forward to getting my hands on the Moto X and maybe even the Moto G. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not going to be touching any devices till after we're moved because the next couple of weeks I'm going to be cleaning on the weekend. Fun.
Yep.
But after I get all settled in and everything's good to go, then I'm going to try to grab something new.
Okay. And one other story that I wanted to touch on, it's kind of been in the news a lot recently, is the AT&T DirecTV quote-unquote merger slash purchase.
Yeah, so they're still waiting on one more approval, or did it go through all the way?
I believe it has completely gone through all the way because they've
Okay.
started unveiling information about their bundle prices.
Yeah, and I know from what I've heard through some people that I know that they're already starting training on trying to bundle that stuff. So interesting.
Yeah, so AT&T customers can save $10 a month on their single bill for their TV and wireless services under a new package the company is offering after its $48.5 billion purchase of the satellite TV company DirecTV.
So if they're buying DirecTV, what happens to Uverse?
That's a good question because I
interesting.
personally prefer Uverse over
Really?
DirecTV. That's why I don't have satellite.
I've always been a DirecTV person, but that's because I grew up with it basically. So
Yeah. No, I like Uverse for their TV. I don't like Uverse for their internet.
their internet, yeah. Charter definitely here in St. Louis.
Yeah, Charter, internet, Uverse, television.
Huh.
So, I mean, this whole transaction has kind of been in the works for over a year now.
Yeah.
I was seeing that it was first announced back in like May of 2014.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so let's see. At AT&T, TV services will cost $50 to $125 a month for the first 12 months, which that's the way they always get you. Hey, low prices for the first 12 months.
Oh
And
yeah,
after
and
the regular
then
prices take effect,
then the regular prices come down the pipeline. You're like, why am I paying this much? Cancel.
which apparently on average that is a savings of $35 a month.
That's a lot of extra cash.
Yeah, so these offers all start on August the 10th. Let's see, just real quick, one other thing.
It's like, let's see, that's like close to $400 a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you guys are interested in all of that and you're already a DirecTV and AT&T customer, go ahead and see if you can get this discount. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Now, me personally, I'm kind of done with the whole TV thing, except for IPTV, which is apparently like the new buzzword.
Yeah.
But I'm all about cutting those cords.
All right, everybody. I see Daryl's in the chat room. We've got to stop talking about him.
Shh, he's here.
Yep, he's here. He might be listening. So no, that's kind of new there as well. I want to do a brief rant about the United States Postal Service.
Let's do it.
Okay. Now, like I mentioned, went to Podcast Movement. On Monday, I was on Swappa, and I saw a pretty good deal on an LG G4. So I went ahead and bought it, and I contacted the seller asking, if he wouldn't mind shipping it to the hotel that I was going to be staying at in Fort Worth for the conference.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, I was planning on just shipping it regularly, and there's a chance you might still get it in time. But hey, would you mind paying, a few bucks extra to have it, and I'll ship it overnight? And I said, yeah, sure. That sounds like a great plan. So he was going to ship it out Tuesday, and it should have been at my house on Wednesday. I was not flying out until Thursday. Wednesday comes around, and I'm looking at the tracking for the tracking number and stuff, and he shipped it out at about 3 in the afternoon. And it was supposed to be coming from Mesa, Arizona.
So it should have, got there a little faster.
Yeah, so it's coming from Arizona, and I was having it shipped to my house still with the overnight. And, I'm going through the day on Wednesday, and it said, hey, guaranteed delivery by 12 or 3 p.m., whatever it was saying. Days going by, time keeps ticking, still nothing. And Postal Service was not updating the information for the tracking on there. I'm like, I'm letting them know, I'm like, it still has not arrived, and Postal Service has not updated anything. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll just, go to bed. And woke up in the morning, finished up the last couple things I needed to pack, and it said that it was leaving our Hazelwood location, which is, here in St. Louis, which is one of the main distribution centers for the St. Louis area. Mm. It arrived there sometime in the morning of Thursday, and it was going to be on its way to my local post office. It left Hazelwood at like 8:38. I got a notification at 11:20 something that it was delivered to my house, but I was already at the airport. So I had to wait another 4 or 5 days before I could get my hands on the phone. So I didn't want to leave the conference in Dallas and Texas, but I did at least have something else that was really exciting to look forward to going home about. So it made leaving a little bit more tolerable.
Yeah, indeed. Something to look forward to when you get home from a small vacation, which is not always the case.
Right. So it's been running good, and I still need to finish up my review of the LG G4. Now that I've got another one, well, everything will be fresh in my mind.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, that's my brief rant on the United States Postal Service. Thanks, guys. But I did have some good luck with Swap. I listed my Lumia 1520, my Nexus 4, and LG G3 prior to leaving, and I went ahead and just packaged them all up. Just in case somebody wanted to buy them, I could, ask my wife to take them and drop them off to ship out. And the 1520 and the Nexus 4 did sell, and the LG G3 actually sold yesterday morning.
Nice. So, getting rid of some devices.
Yeah, just kind of clearing things out and getting some more money ready for the
new Windows devices. Wait, what?
Yep, the 950, 950 XL, 940 XL, whatever it is, the final name is going to be. I'm not even really sure yet.
Yeah, we'll hear soon enough, I'm sure.
Yeah. But again, back to the G4, I'm still liking it. The camera's fantastic. The audio quality's loud. Display's nice. I ordered a tempered glass screen protector off Amazon.
I love those. Those are amazing.
Yeah, and it arrived on Wednesday like the phone was supposed to. So it just sat there in the cabinet until I got home and could actually put it on the phone. But everything's working well. Very happy with it.
Excellent.
Yes, very happy with it overall. Let's go ahead and move into the app and entertainment picks. Go ahead and kick yours off. I want to hear something about this.
Sure. So this isn't really a subject that I'm super into most of the time, because most of the time it either annoys the heck out of me, or a little too adolescent for me. But there's one in particular that my buddy's like, you gotta watch this, I know you'll love it. And okay, so first of all, it's kissanime.com. The why I'm kind of picking this is because of the video format they use. So they use HTML5, which most places still use Flash, which is annoying. Flash needs to die. So with kissanime.com, you can actually go watch any anime you want on, whether it be your Xbox, whether it be your phone on the go, if you're in class, or what have you. You can watch it basically anywhere because they have HTML5 support. So that's number one. That's awesome. And then beyond that, there's a specific anime that I'm currently watching. And once again, I'm not super crazy about anime. There's certain ones that are really good and really high up there for me. And then the rest of them can just all go die in a fire. But this one's called Sword Art Online. And my buddy hit it on the nail, and I know why. So the story is about, there's a game coming out, and it's kind of like a virtual reality game, and you put a headset on, then you're in this world, and it's like a virtual reality, but like a little more deeper virtual reality. Like there's a processor that kind of like takes over your bodily like functions, so to speak.
What?
So you can
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little sci-fi or whatever, but you can like. Anyway, it's virtual reality. They get in there, and it turns out once you're in, you can't leave the game. And if you die in the game, you die in real life. It's kind of like Matrix-esque a little bit.
Okay.
But I actually discovered that I'm kind of addicted to it right now, and I really like this particular one. So if you can look past the awkward social interactions at times, the story itself is actually pretty compelling, and I am actually enjoying it. So, which is saying a lot, being as I'm not really a huge fan of anime most of the time. Because most of the time, it's like I said, it's a little too adolescent for me. But this one, it is at times, but I can overlook that because the story is so good to me. So if you like anime, you like games, you like both, you should check out Sword Art Online. The other pick I have, which is kind of an odd one for me, because I don't use Chrome too much, but when I do, so it's Destiny Item Manager. So instead of like taking 4 or 5 minutes out of whatever it is you're doing to go back to the tower, go back to your vault, pick up a weapon, go back to what it is what you're doing, you can jump on Chrome, use Destiny Item Manager, move your items back and forth between your characters, your vaults, whatever, and it just works. It's great. And I mean, obviously, you can get the official app for iOS, Android, but for us Windows Phone users, we're kind of the odd man out. So this is the answer to that for me. So this is why I always have my tablet on me when I'm doing Destiny, because I can just hop on my tablet, switch out some items, good to go. So if you're in that camp at all, that's for you. And there you have it.
I was responding to something in the chat from Sam. As many of you may have seen that might follow on our or on my Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, that I had Subway yesterday for lunch, and the chips that I chose were Southern biscuits and gravy style chips. And because Lay's always comes out with these funky flavors that I guess people submit flavors and they pick G4, and then they let people vote to see which flavor that they're going to continue making. So I tried the biscuits and gravy because, well, I do enjoy a nice plate of biscuits and gravy from time to time.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah. And they've got a Euro and what was the two that you said you had tried?
I grabbed the New York style Reuben and the California style truffle fries. Yes. Truffle fries. Jesus.
Okay.
It feels like a Monday, but it's a Wednesday. But yeah, I really like Reuben's, so that's why I grabbed that one. And I've heard the biscuits and gravy wasn't that great, so I didn't grab them at first. But Sarah just got done telling me that she absolutely loves biscuits and gravy, the chips. She hates the actual biscuits and gravy. So I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, how can you like the chip flavor?
Right.
Not the real
thing. I'm like, okay, now I really want them because if she likes them, that means I'm going to absolutely love them. So I'm going to go pick those up later. And another like snack or guilty pleasure, if you're in the St. Louis area, Schlafly just came out with their pumpkin ale, which is one of the best pumpkin ales in the country, mind you.
It's almost that time of year for Oktoberfest and stuff, man. We're already in August.
It's usually the first week of August, Kevin. Yeah. I keep track of these things because I absolutely love it.
I bet you do. And
so Schlafly actually releases their pumpkin before their Oktoberfest because their pumpkin is one of their best-selling beers.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to Oktoberfest, Samuel Adams usually releases theirs about a couple days / a week before Schlafly. And so I'll be looking for both of those by this weekend. Apparently Shiner already has their Oktoberfest out, so I might have to grab that in the meantime.
Okay.
So, it's just that wonderful time of year, Kevin, when all the good beers happen.
Yes, it is. So I've been using Action Launcher 3 for Android, which is just, kind of replace your stock launcher and how you interact with your phone. So I've been using it on the G4 and actually on my Nexus 5 before I'd left. And it is working pretty well overall. I actually do enjoy it. It's available, the premium, where you can unlock all the settings and completely customize your device, $3.99. That unlocks everything. Podcast that I want to recommend is called Cash Car Convert with James Kinson. This is another, I met James and his wife, I believe Jennifer. I've met so many people, tough to keep up with everybody. And, they're part of the whole financial podcasting thing, and they go to a conference called FinCon, which is actually held in St. Louis back in 2013. This year, I believe it's in North Carolina. And it's a really fantastic show. I listened to an episode the other day, and I thought it was really, really good. So a lot of good financial advice. Can't wait to go through the backlog and check out more of those episodes. Just really found a whole bunch of new shows that I'll probably talk about in the coming episodes. So, and as Sam mentions, he likes to use Nova Launcher on his HTC device, and Nova Launcher is fantastic as well. Nova Launcher, just the stock Google launcher, I like them. Just always like to change things up from time to time. And that's one of the benefits of Android. So it's good stuff. Good stuff. Moving on to the weekly poll question. Our last poll question, let me go ahead and pull that back up, was what will keep you from buying the OnePlus 2? Now, of course, with Straw being very popular in the Windows Phone community, I don't know if the results are a little skewed because 68% of the people says because it's Android. And then the 23% people say it's because of the invite system, which is very frustrating. That is one of the biggest complaints, I think, personally, is you have to wait for an invite. You can't just go to a store or go somewhere or just simply order it online. You have to wait until you get an invite. And last I looked, the invite list was 900,000+ people. So if you get in today, you might be in the millions. There's no telling. And then 7% of the people say it's because of the version of Android that they're using. The new poll question is, what recently unveiled phone is most appealing? And the two options, I only did two options this time, and they are the OnePlus 2 and the Moto X Style, which is basically the updated version of the last year's Moto X. So we'll be talking about the Moto X Style on an upcoming episode, so we'll have more specs and stuff like that to get better ideas and thoughts about it. So the link to this poll will be available in the show notes, or search the Tech Informist Twitter account tweet history for that.
Raul just mentions that he got his invite from Project Fi yesterday.
Yeah, so for those of you who may not be familiar with Project Fi, that is kind of Google's quote-unquote wireless service. And it bounces between T-Mobile and Sprint network, so whichever is strongest at the time and location that you are in, it will switch between those two. I believe that is only for Nexus 6 devices, because
Yes.
well, you can buy an unlocked Nexus device and use it on any of the four mobile carriers, and you pretty much only pay for what you use. They have different levels of like data that you can bump up to, and if you don't use what you signed up for, then you get a credit. It seems to be an interesting way to go with that. All right, that pretty much does it for this episode. Again, definitely thank everybody for tuning in, and again, I do apologize for it being a long period of time in between episodes. Not something that I want to do. I want to try to keep us consistently between Monday and Wednesdays moving forward.
Stuff happens. Life happens.
Life happens, and I feel that our listeners are pretty understanding, and they realize that things are what they are. So moving forward, we're going to keep trying to do that and bring in some guests. And that's one thing I need to do. I need to start getting those guests lined up and brought on board. But feedback, people, if we get some email feedback, things like that, let us know, because we want to hear from you, and I want to start reading listener feedback on the episode. So if you shoot us an email, whether it's a question or anything else, make sure to put that in an email or send it to us via Twitter, and I will graciously read that in a upcoming segment of the show.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. So Brad is going to be getting ready to head off to
the old work
The
place.
old 9 to 5-er, which is not a 9 to 5 job.
Oh God, no! 9 is too early.
It's not too early. Stop it. You'd be surprised
Anything
at how
before
well
10 o'clock is too early for me, Kevin.
Your body would adjust very well.
It doesn't want to.
It would. It would if you just said suck it up and just started getting up at 8.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
You live like 5 minutes from work, you'd be fine.
That's the point. I can wake up 5 minutes before I have to be there.
Oh, stop it. You'd be fine. Trust me. And if anybody happens to hear this in time, this Saturday we have our Windows Phone meetup group meeting at our local Microsoft store in St. Louis at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time.
So is that 10 to 1? Or 10 to noon?
I don't think it'll be 10 to 1. It'll probably be like a 10 to noon.
All right. Sounds good.
It'll at least be 1 to 2 hours.
Looks like I'll have to wake up early.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You got to wake up, especially for things that you want to do. And I know you want to do that.
No, that's all together. Yeah, I was going to say that's okay. I like waking up early to see those guys.
I did. So you get up early for that, but you won't get up early.
What? No. Hang on. I got up early for that one show that one day where we did the show before and then the show after.
I did for that one show.
Yeah.
Which actually I think that should be releasing. I contacted Mike, the host, and I think that should be coming out very soon. Let's see if he posted it. No, it's still not showing up just yet. He's really been busy with some video work he's been doing.
All right. Cool.
Look for that our episode on Now and Then movie podcast.
A little crossover episode, which was actually fun. I enjoyed it.
It was fun. I'd actually like to do that again sometime. All right. So again, that does it. I'm Kevin Harvell. Find me on Twitter at Kevin Harvell, KevinHarvell. You can find Brad on the Twitterverse as well at Holy_Shadows. Talk with us, people. We love hearing from you. So
absolutely.
Yep. So again, thank you everybody for listening. And until next time, consider yourself informed. We are out.
See ya.